Hello everyone, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed your lunch. So, Christophe, just I always have to do my journalist job. Do we know already, or do we know who's gonna win the challenge, or not yet? Not yet. It's cooking, but it's being done here somewhere. So for the startups who want to, you need to find who's doing it. It's being done somewhere here in City of Culture. So welcome all the startups. I wish you luck for all the startups that pitch. I hope you're gonna be one of the winners. Now we're gonna have the next panel, Adapting to Change, Building Resilience in the Tech Ecosystem. I'm calling Aya Zarnin, angel investor from Morocco. Aya. Oh, you changed me the panel. Okay. From startup to scale up, yes. Okay, so there you go. Mad Khaled Mizghani, come, my best friend. He's a great dancer, by the way. Because you're a great dancer. Is it? Am I wrong? You're a great dancer. And Lays Rekat, Arzan VC, and Hossam Maiza Galactech. You saw him pitching yesterday, and Sarah Ben Younis, investment readiness coach, and our great dancing moderator.
So hello everyone. So besides of dancing, I'm a program manager at Green for Youth, which is a program that supports startups in the green economy in Tunis. The program is financed by HEWOS and IFC, supported by Impact Partner and Flat 6 Labs. And today I'm more of a moderator for these beautiful people on stage. So our topic today is more about how to build resilience and adapting to change, especially in the tech field. And today I have with me people who are presenting VCs, a startup example, and people who are seeking investment. So I think without further ado, let's start, guys. So I can present you better than you do yourself, so I'll give you the mic. I know, I can get that. So I'm going to start with you, Laith. From a VC perspective, how do you see today our different ecosystem, and you guys been there and you've been investing in all over the regions. So how do you see these ecosystems are adapting to this economical changes, especially with the biggest impact such as COVID, other than economic crisis? How people are adapting, what are the solutions are being there, and what have you seen? There you go.
Okay, hi. My name is Laith Rekat. I'm a partner at Arzan Venture Capital. I'll do a quick intro. So we're a fund based out of Kuwait, Dubai, Amman, and Cairo. We've been investing since 2015. We have 2 funds active and fully deployed. We're raising a 3rd fund. In our portfolio are companies like Kareem, Swivel, Trucker. We have 9 exits across 2 funds, and we're now raising a 3rd fund. That fund is going to have a broader thesis, investing up to Series B, and investing in new geographies such as broader Africa and Pakistan. In terms of adapting to change, whether that change is a crisis or a pandemic or a devaluation of currency or a war, we've seen much happen over the past few years. Unfortunately, a lot of these things did happen. I'll just give examples without mentioning names from companies that are in our portfolio and companies that are not. And I'll give you my opinion on what I think was a good change or not a good change. So I think we first need to define adaptation and make sure we understand the difference between adapting and just reaction. When you see companies pivoting, you really need to ask a lot of questions to understand if that pivot or change or shift in strategy was forced upon them or it came from a bunch of learnings, a series. If there's a story behind it. It's just like the day one when you meet a company, you ask them, tell me your story. Why are you doing this? How did you come about this idea, or how did you come together and decide to do this? Same thing with change. So I see a lot of knee-jerk reactions that are labeled as pivots or adaptations to changes. And if the market didn't change or shift or crisis didn't happen, I think a lot of them would just keep going the course they have been, and with not much to show. So you see a lot of flatlining in their history, and then suddenly they have this eureka moment and say, "Oh, we have this idea, and this is the future. It's the next big thing." But why didn't you do that 6 months ago or a year ago? So, examples during COVID. I saw companies that delivered home-cooked meals suddenly start delivering mobile top-up cards and coffee, roasted, coffee beans and other basic necessities, in the home. And it just doesn't seem natural to me because as soon as COVID, ended, they went back to trying to build their original business model, and what happened is they never really became a grocery or mobile top-up card delivery company or whatever they did during COVID, but they also neglected their original model because naturally they could not deliver home-cooked meals because of COVID, right? You didn't want someone making your food and delivering it without all of those, sanitary checks and all that. It was probably illegal at the time to actually do that. This is one example. Another example, another food delivery company that shifted to do groceries, and they also failed miserably because there were other companies that are doing groceries that just skyrocketed and got huge amounts of cash investment to continue doing what they're doing. In our portfolio, we saw companies pivot. We saw a company that was doing loyalty point aggregation that decided that they need to become a payment gateway. It was a good pivot because their business model, had actually died out because people weren't spending and earning miles in airlines or restaurants during COVID. And the online payment model, online merchants, traditional merchants started going online. Everybody wanted to sell and deliver online because of COVID. So that's kind of a propeller. It propelled everybody in that space. So that was a good pivot. We also, in our portfolio, I'll mention this name, Suval. People stopped going to work. They stopped taking buses, and everything was, you couldn't be in a small space with a bunch of people. What Swivel did was, luckily they had just raised a round. They had a runway of about 2 years. They extended that runway by optimizing operations, by optimizing the team. They did a lot of house cleanup during COVID. The business went down to zero, but what they did was they pulled up a big list of, cleanup, tasks that they were always postponing, and they really focused on R&D, and they perfected their technology, improved efficiencies, and looked at, where inefficiencies were, and it really, really paid off. I can say, for example, another crisis that hit some companies in Egypt, which is the currency devaluation. And what we found, what we've seen is companies that had this global reach actually focused on their other markets outside of Egypt that were thriving and growing, invested more in that growth as opposed to investing in the Egyptian growth for a while until things stabilize. So these are different crises, different reactions, and I think we've seen a lot of learnings that stayed with the companies afterwards. So these weren't just reactions, they were things that accelerated the learning.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I'll next go to Hossein. Basically, Hossein, you
you can tell us more about yourself and being a CEO. Since we're talking about pivoting and talking about changeable business models, was it your case? Was it the same case with you guys? How these changes impacted you directly to your businesses, and what was your reaction?
Okay, thank you so much, Khalid. So, for those of you who don't know, so we essentially operate in the gas business, or game as a service. We don't provide games, but we provide the entire experience around it, from esports to game e-commerce, etc. I think this represents perfectly the case of Galactech. We started off as a game development company, actually, and we fast enough realized that this was going nowhere. Here I'm going to remind yesterday's panel. I remember Mariam from 500 Startups. She said that we've been seeing gaming companies just trying to mimic what's happening elsewhere. It's not taking the factor of localization and things like that into account. So the market's not welcoming the idea very well. And what we did is we tried to see where are the actual pain points that have urgency. I know this seems weird because we're talking about the gaming industry, but still, entertainment in a way or another is a need for the customer. And we try to focus on where it hurts most. Funny enough, the first thing was payments and access to games through paying for them using local currency, and it was actually the start of our pivots. So instead of investing too much money on a risky investment like creating our own games, let's take the top 30 games in the region and let's turn them into a profitable business in this scale, which is North Africa and later on the MENA region. And it turned out to be a very good pivot. I remember the growth from year 1 to year 2 was the first year we did $4,000 in sale. The next year we did nearly $2 million in sales. So it really was very beneficial in our case. And to take this even further, we adopted this way as a I wouldn't say a policy, but I would say a kind of a doctrine that a change when is needed should be applied, but sometimes change is not necessarily needed. So the best case we always discuss internally is the big pen. It's been the same pen for the last 30 years, and people keep buying it because you don't really need to innovate in pens. But so to talk about the idea globally and away from our case. I think there are two factors to be taken into consideration in adapting to change in the case of a startup, which is change should not be a part of the FOMO kind of syndrome. You're not the best example is NFTs. So NFTs, when they came out, everybody started investing in NFTs. Nobody understood what NFTs is, and I suppose they still don't. But in general, people start investing in things that they think they will eventually thrive. And they start adapting based on that, even though that's not in their DNA. They don't understand it, they don't know their way around it, and still they do it. And that's a really big mistake. The other way, and that's exactly, in fact, what Laith was saying. And there's the other side. Do you see the end game when you proceed to change? Do you see what does your company turn into when you decide to do the change? Try the exercise you try is, please give me your elevator pitch today and give me your elevator pitch 5 years from now, and tell me, does it make sense to get there in this timeline? So if it does make sense, okay, that's a debatable subject, and why not discuss it? Otherwise, you're wasting your time, your investors' resources, and probably even your clients' time and effort. And so, just to sum the whole thing up, I think that people should take it a little bit easier when it comes to adapting to change. I know that's for most startups that's a survival game. But sometimes taking your time and understanding your surroundings and taking decisions after considering all the facts is a much better thing than just taking a leap of faith.
Thank you so much about that. That totally makes sense. And I'll next jump to Sarah. And since Sarah, today you've been working on investment readiness with different startups. Do you think how this adapting to change should impact the conversation with startup? Does it give a better sound to it? Is having a changeable business model, does it make always sense to the investor? And do they want to invest in you after having these multiple changes and pivots?
If you get back to basics, we say, especially for pre-seed or seed, we say team comes first. And we've heard a lot of investors saying we don't care whether you pivot or not. We care about the team, the resilience of the team, and the capabilities of achieving. So I think the practice of resilience is actually a greater, or it's a proof, or it's a traction, or how great of a team you are. In a sense of, regardless what you do, I think founders also need to pitch their resilience plan, because we always care of how do you think, how do you adapt. You said for Sweevil, for instance, you said they did the cleanup. So they have a mindset of cost optimization and doing things or optimizing the status quo. We've seen a lot of startups having abundant amount of cash and they don't know how to optimize it. So the fact that you pitched your resilience plan is your way to say, I'm not just a founder with good degrees or X and Y years of experience somewhere else. This is a real practice of what I can do in a constant changing environment, and these are the patterns. So I think I've seen it a success. I'm very impressive to talk about how you did it and the whole, like when Hossein tried to mention how he thought of it, I think that's very reassuring to investors. So that's first. Second thing, we've seen a lot of articles, whether it's YC, Sequoia, or all around, investors are no longer looking for unicorns. They're looking for camels. We're no longer looking as much for cash burners as much as they're looking now for healthier businesses. And here we're investors starting talking even at the seed stage about unit economics. A good thing to show is how optimized is your business model in terms of, we've heard a lot of the word CAC to LTV, and it's short of how much are you spending versus how much value is your client giving you. We've seen before a lot of startups just burn as much money, acquire, and you see crazy CACs with absolutely no retention. Nowadays, we want business that are sustainable and they're growing. So we would like to see that first pilot that is operating. We want to see low CAC and your capability of converting. We want to see also great conversion rates. We don't want to see like a funnel that has thousands of early qualified or early engagement, and then for acquisition, it's nearly 10%. Another KPI that I think have been very positive to investors is capability of retention. Especially, we've seen a lot of investors shifting to B2B dynamics, and it's important for B2B that you hold a set of clients and you create as much value delivery and value creation. And this is very showcased by your capability of upselling and cross-selling. So to sum it up, really, resilience, I think, is actively pitching, or it's a proof that as founding team, we can operate under stress. We can pivot accordingly to the risks and the changing dynamics. And we're ready to do what it takes to survive. Because I've seen startups, even though they're just on the delivery surfaces and they were like perfectly COVID-friendly people, they didn't make it happen. Too much growth was actually a reason why they died. So it's very important to show how are you adapting. Second, unit economics. So they start talking about numbers, and it's totally fine to be aware about your conversions, about the healthy business you have, and also about the cost optimizations that you're trying to do. This is very important to reassure investors. Again, we're no longer looking for unicorns as much as we're looking for camels. They're not walking dead, but steadily growing, moving forward, regardless of what's happening in the world.
Thank you so much for that, and that definitely makes sense and it's a good example for every startup that should be more focused and more oriented. Going back to you, Laith, I will want to know, as VCs today, how do you support your startups in these changes? How do you, let's say, it's not an incubation, it's not an acceleration, it's not necessarily that you give them one-to-one advices, but how do you support that? And what is your perspective when a startup comes to you after investing, after putting your money in, injecting? What is your perspective and how do you deal with that? And how is it for a VC itself to adapt to this change?
Well, COVID was the first crisis we went through like I said, we've been investing since 2015, not a long time. And generally, it was all up, like a positive time until COVID. And we didn't know. Initially, we were like asking each other, the VCs. That actually was happened. They were like, "Hey man, what are you guys doing? Let's get on a call. What do you hear other people doing?" We actually did all like our, the other VCs. We got on a bunch of calls and, "Hey, how are you guys handling it? What's your situation? What are you hearing?" First, we wanted to understand the landscape now. We had to understand what all the other investors are thinking, not necessarily what they're doing, but what they're thinking, because you're not alone. Your founder is not alone. You're not the only investor out there, and you shouldn't be the only person they depend on. And then it becomes clear that this ecosystem is about collaboration. Yes, it's competitive. Yes, you see cutthroat competition for deals and people shoving each other out of the deals. Up, what do you call it? Pricing up valuations to compete. But in times of crisis, we've learned, and I think others have learned, that it's more about collaboration. It's more about bridges. So we had to really understand the ecosystem, who's deploying money, who's where in their fund. Because a lot of founders go through this for the first time as well. And a lot of them they froze. They didn't know, do I fundraise? Do I not? Do I stop fundraising if I am fundraising? So we gathered like a list of advice, based on the other investors. And we had a call with each and every one of our companies to understand what they're doing. And then we gave them our view. It was mostly initially it was high level, okay? So focus on revenue generating jobs, cut down on tech jobs, because typically tech, we weren't saying fire people, it's just, I believe every engineer, everyone who's built software believes that in tough times, one engineer can do the work of 10, literally. If you really, really plan well, if you really focus, and if they're really motivated. So we said, stop hiring engineers, because they're really expensive, and there's a lot of, bleeding that happens in burning cash, because there's R&D, people tend to do that. So stop R&D, focus on revenue-generating jobs, salespeople, business development, and try to keep, focus on like mentally, emotionally, what your team is going through as well. You don't want to lose people. So this was the priority. And of course, then moving to step 2, which is what's your cash situation? How can you extend your runway? How can you double your runway? And then step 3 is, how much cash do we have? What's our investment strategy, and how should it change to help our companies? So we made sure that our companies had access to whatever follow-on cash we had allocated. We talked to our LPs to say we might call more capital faster than anticipated. So are you okay with that? Everybody was very supportive. There was this fear initially, but there wasn't no one was withdrawing. No one was trying to default on their commitments in terms of our LPs. So we've, kind of gone through that exercise, made sure we had our, everybody who's supporting us is supporting us, and that we, in turn, can actually support the companies. So, and then we went back to them and said, you can depend on us, and just keep going. And we eventually we relayed that message to the other VCs that we work with and said, this is our situation, you can also depend on us. So our co-investors knew that they shouldn't also bail out, they shouldn't be afraid. Because unless there's communication, people will think, oh, let me stop investing, I'm going to save my cash to see what's happening. But we said, no, we're supportive. So everybody came in and said, yeah, we're supportive too. Then the founder was able to keep moving as opposed to stopping. So I think this is the most valuable thing we did, and we learned as well during the.
So we could say, in a way, it was more of an opportunity to re-reflect and rethink, considerate some reflects about the business, and why not supporting more and pushing further.
Yeah, I think we didn't think much about. We didn't try to interfere in the business because honestly, launching a company, coming up with an idea, the product, figuring out the product market fit is not easy. It's the founder's job. We try not to interfere, so we try not to affect that. But what we did do is make sure that these guys can be comfortable going out and knowing we will not bail out on them. There's follow-on funding allocated. We are not suddenly going to say, hey, we're going to pause. Yes, we might pause new investments, but you want to tell them that they can depend on you, because otherwise that's an additional problem they have to worry about, right?
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. So, talking about this pivot and talking about building resilience, I will ask Hossein now on. So, how today did you guys, as a good example, and please tell us more about different examples from your sector, how did you guys manage to build a durable resilience? Instead of keep on doing these changes and then adapting in every situation, how would you come out with this good business model, this way to survive, and how did you build that?
So I think what Laith was saying is very substantial, meaning that any kind of support that a startup receives from its backers, whether VCs or angels, is essentially trying to lower the numbers of the number of problems you have to worry about. Because actually, in a normal day, you're worrying about 1,000 things, so you don't need any additional anxiety to add into your life. That's number one. But in context of survival, I think that. Well, it depends on the sector and also on the time that whatever you're doing is happening. Because there's a side we never discussed before. Change sometimes could be positive because some sectors are actually thriving at a certain moment. And it's actually what Sarah said is there were some COVID-friendly businesses, but eventually they died. So adapting is not necessarily just to survive, is adapting how much growth could you actually benefit from when a sector is going on the rise. I think the first question I would be actually saying is, let's take our sector, for example, which is gaming. I don't suppose you hear a lot about gaming startups in the MENA region. And that's for a reason, because we've never been game producing region. Funny enough, I've seen it actually in, I think it was Arzan Capital, by the way. It was in description on Magnet, and they say we don't invest in gaming because we think that this is a very hard sector to invest in, and this is kind of what.
You guys don't invest in gaming things?
He doesn't.
Just so hard. No, I don't want to take his.
Yeah.
We did well investing in that company. It's just so hard to find people.
Yeah, that's true. And just because now there's the gaming fever now in MENA with Saudi and UAE, and everybody now is suddenly saying, gaming and esports exists. And I've been seeing other companies how they're adapting to that. So everybody now is putting a lot of money into R&D and burning a lot of cash and having that unique selling point, so they could benefit from this peak. So just to put the whole thing in perspective, I think survival or thriving, regardless of what type of change we're discussing, it depends always on the founder first, and it depends on the supporting factors on a second level. The founder, because he's the guy who came up with the idea, he's the guy who's going to lead the whole thing to the end. So whether the end is an exit or the end is actually for the company's failing, first and foremost, it's the founder's choices that led the company to these things, of course, with other factors included. But on the second level, it always depends on the support that comes with it. It's people before ideas, as Sarah said. It's the people that you have. Is the team is strong enough? Is the team coachable enough? Able to have that kind of adaptation to change and the pace in which the founder is going through. The second thing is always the supporting factor, whether accelerators, investors, even institutions in the country or the region you're operating in. All of these factors, they contribute hugely to actually the survival percentage or success percentage you might be having. So in conclusion, you really cannot have that 100% winning formula in adapting to change, because it depends on the sector, it depends on the time. I would have given you a different answer if it were in the crisis of 2008 or 1929. The reason of the crisis requires a certain response to it and a certain pace to it. But still, as I told you, these in this specific order, the factor is always about coming together, working together, taking the right decisions at the right pace, and committing to whatever decision you go to until the next change is due.
Thank you so much. That's so insightful. So, guys, since we're running out of time, Sarah, will finish with you with the last question. What do you think, from your case, what are the red lines that investors don't want to see with a changeable business model within a startup, and how should we present it the right way in whether we're raising funds in different series?
So it really depends. Leith brought back so many memories of the craziness that was like Q2 2020 was a crazy time. I was back then in Flash 6 Labs, 60 startups, changing dynamics. It was crazy. And here, as Hosam said, it depends whether changing, you're here to change because you have to, or because you've originally planned to, or you just have to pivot. The whole idea behind COVID and behind what's happening, inflation, economic crisis, they're just accelerating the win fast, fail fast for me. In a sense of, if they're good founders, what you're trying to build is a scalable machine or a scalable engine that you can keep on deploying, whether it's going to different other products or to different markets. So investors are not here. They're not here to judge whether this is like, yeah, do this and don't do that. Investors are here to follow you and follow the logic, because always investors that are minority shareholders, they're very protected and they want you to take the lead. So you have to assume, as Hosam said. So in terms of business model, or what investors I thought loved to see at that time and still up in today, is trying to build that efficiency in terms of the growth vehicle, is trying to work on a specific segment. It's good to be opportunistic, but it's good to understand the markets you're trying to navigate the risk of. And then try to take that ideal customer profile and try to do as much as cross-selling and upselling. Because as I said before, regardless of what's the formula, try to have lower sales cycle. It's very important, and ability to acquire. Just to get back to the COVID times, I remember there was a time where marketing didn't work. Salespeople didn't work. Facebook didn't work. Nothing worked. The only thing that worked is working on retention and working on that very specific segment that you can just keep on working on. And it's always less expensive, and it also shows how efficient, or the efficiency of that vehicle that you're trying to build. So in short, investors are not here to tell you what you should do. And actually, when you follow, if you have like 5 investors, if every single one of them gives you an idea, if you follow 5 of them, if they get back to you in the second call, they're telling you this doesn't make sense. What you're trying to do is that going through different ways. So try to identify the engine or the acceleration engine that you want to have with optimized conversions, lower sales cycle. Try to go there and adapt to the dynamics to satisfy that particular segment that you believe can bring a decent average basket size. Of course, depends on the business model, lower sales cycle, and just go from there and building that scalable engine. Because especially early investors, early stage investors, they want to see your potential in scaling what you do. And they want to also see that you also have a vision. So yeah, to sum it up, investors are not here to interfere. You need to just figure out where's the engine you're trying to build. Make sure that you pitch that. Figure out a way about the pricing, the SaaS. You just do your thing. You just have to make it work and just make numbers. Even $1 count. No free, just, yeah, I have bajillions in the pipeline, but I'm going to convert them probably in the coming 6 months, and then you come and tell me you have 12 months of conversion cycles. That really doesn't work. So yeah, focus, build your scalable machine, because with more team, with more funds, just show them what you can do with the minimal and just run.
Thank you so much. That was always oppressing as every time. Guys, the call is for you. If you have any question for the panelists, please go ahead. The dead silence. Cool. I think we're good with this topic. Yeah. Yes, I think so. Thank you guys so much for being here. It was very lovely and very insightful. Hopefully we get to meet in other future occasions, and see you soon.
So, hello again. We're gonna start in a while our challenge, Saint-Gobain challenge. I have a few seconds, and I have a great dancer, so great panel. Bravo. I love you. So, welcome again. We're gonna have 2 startup pitching in a while, and let me get back to what we had earlier. So we just finished our panel, and next we're gonna have the pitch challenge of Saint-Gobain, and then we're gonna have the investor pitches. Christophe, do you wanna tell us how it works, the investor pitches? I love this exercise. It's the investors that are going to come on stage to pitch their fund, to pitch what they do, what their ability to invest, and they try to convince you that they are interesting investor for you. So we're gonna start, as I said, in a second with our jury. We have 1, we have 2. We're picking them up, and 3 with Christophe. That's it. Thank you again. So I'm gonna call our first startup, Omar Tauridet, great startup from Egypt. So the floor is yours. I wish you luck, and you have the clicker, you have a mic. Let me give you this one, it's ready. Let's give him a round of applause for Omar Tauridet.
So, hello everyone. This is Omar Farahat, co-founder of Tauridet, Maya's largest B2B construction finishing goods online. So I want to start with you with a simple question. Did you know that in Egypt, 80% of contractors who goes to the market, they face counterfeit or fraud when buying items? And another 50%, when they go, they buy items overpriced than their average prices. Why? Because this is how the market looks. It's informal, fragmented, single-sourced. You need to depend on your family or friends. You always face fraud, overpriced items, and this leads to an inconvenient shopping and delivery experience. So what we're solving is, or our solution is, we're building a platform to connect the supply and demand from both sides, creating a one-stop shop for most competitive prices and hassle-free experience in this sector. Basically, we're targeting a huge market of $40 billion when it comes to procuring machinery and construction and finishing items in Egypt alone. The product is basically a website and a mobile application featuring all the products that we have, adding their prices, technical specs, data sheets, anything that our users who are the contractors that they will need. Also, we offer delivery to their construction sites or offices. So the business model consists of a platform. It's a user-friendly website and app for listing, inquiries, and ordering, and it's backed up by a very intensive CRM and order tracking and invoicing and fulfillment module. In the supply side, we work as a light asset model with no inventory, and all the logistics are done in-house by Tawridat team to ensure a very good customer satisfaction. On the other side, the demand side, we do the last mile delivery by ourselves, and we facilitate payments for up to 30 days credit. So as the competition, we like to see our competitors as indirect competitors, which are Khamatu and Waradli. Why? Because they are focusing on the B2C, or they have a B2C approach. However, we have a different approach with the B2B. We know our market very well. We know our clients. We offer credit payments and 24-hour delivery fees, free delivery, and which reflects in our sales when being B2B focused. So in just 1 year, we grew 100 times from June in year 21 till July 22. We have up to now year-to-date sales of 725K. Our average cart size is 5,600 with a margin of 6%, and this margin keeps increasing as we are adding more verticals and products to our list and adding the credit payment. We have a recurring order, which is more than 6 times per customer per year, and our average retention is 80%, and we have more than 52 of our customers order more than once. On the supply side, we have more than 60 partnerships with many of the big suppliers in the market, 30 days credit secured from 8 of them, and more than 2,000 SKUs among the verticals of paint, electricity, plumbing, and recently added the AC as well. So as I mentioned, we reached a year-to-date sales of 725K, and we are targeting to close this year with $1.5 million. Our roadmap starts with year 1, focusing on our tech and supply chain, as well as securing more strategic partnerships and building a better customer base and introducing a couple of verticals. In the next 2 years, we're focusing on increasing this network and enhancing our financing offering. And in about 5 years, we want to expand geographically into similar markets where they have informal markets like Egypt, the Egyptian market, which we are targeting Nigeria, Kenya, and maybe South Africa, and also expand beyond the construction vertical. The team consists of me, Omar Farhad, the CBO, with more than 10 years of experience in the construction industry. Our CEO, Hamad Ragab, with extensive experience in electric product distribution and panel building, and Shahab with lots of experience in the procurement side. We are raising 2 million, and we secured 650K of them, and we did a good partnership and a strategic investor, Swedi, giving us the sole distribution of all the El Suidi items online. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Omar. So I have two questions. First, I'm going to start with your market as a first. You're talking about an informal market, which is usually difficult to deal with at the first insight. So what is your traction plan? How are you attracting your new customer and new users? And second question, you're taking 6% out of every deal. You're making about an average $5,600 as a person. You said that will be growing. So how is that, and what are you willing to do?
Okay, first of all, let me tell you something about the experience when trying to procure anything in this market. You have to either send someone from the procurement team, or we're targeting the small and medium-sized contractors. Sometimes the CEO or the managing director goes himself. So this is actually a big hassle. What we're offering is we're digitizing this market to be all of it online, seeing all the products, the prices, the technical data sheets, everything online. So this, first of all, it saves a lot of time for the engineer or the company owner, and it has you can collect all the items needed for many different fragmented market into one website and order all of them at once. As for growing the margin, we started with the verticals that sell a lot, so they have a very low margin for now, and we're exploring other verticals that will increase our margin, because lucky us, our client orders more than 20 verticals in his daily operations. So we started with electricity, plumbing, paints, and AC, and there are other 20 of them. So we'll tackle all of them, increasing our margins, and added the credit term, which adds another 3% margin per month. Let me get your question. The 6% are just the margin, and we add another 3% for the credit margin. In Egypt, most of it is now cash due to inflation and lack of resources. So all the suppliers, they want their money cash. So adding this feature in our product makes it unique, and this is actually what increased our sales like 3 times in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
Just a question. You qualified on the Saint-Gobain Open Innovation Challenge. So Saint-Gobain being a major corporate in its construction business. Have you worked with other corporates other than L3D? And what would be your expectation of the partnership or the investment, since it's a corporate VC arm of Saint-Gobain backing this? What's the expectation, and what's the value proposition for Saint-Gobain on your side?
Okay, first of all, having El Suidi plays a very, very pivotal role in our value proposition, because we have access to a huge product listing. In addition to that, Saint-Gobain will help us a lot with the experience, with the know-how, with technical know-how, and actually with having the technical support and distribution arm of such company in our market, and later on expanding into Africa as well. So this is what we're seeking.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Bravo, Omar. So, second startup, we're gonna go with Meher Shakroun, co-founder of Optima Logistic.
It's fine. Hello. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's
So it's going to refresh in a second.
okay.
And you could start. Mr. Shakroun?
Yes.
Omar, can you allow me to ask him a question that he did not ask to you? Can you pitch yourself?
Sure.
Introduce. Who's Mr. Shakroun?
So
No, there you go. It's ready.
Fine.
Saved by the presentation.
So hello everybody. Do you know that every 3 delivery there are two vehicles that come back empty after to their initial point, and this is called the wasted capacity of trucks. On the other hand, businesses like construction contractor, manufacturer waste a lot of time, money, and energy to optimally transport their goods, especially with unscheduled delivery. So my name is Meher Shakroun. I'm the co-founder of Optimal Logistics, and we are filling the empty space and turn it to an opportunity. So our solution, we provide businesses with the best transport option to deliver their goods according to their business requirement. We offer land transport of goods, and we are also offering additional services like grouping, handling, shipping, dispatching, and warehousing. So our client use our marketplace to subscribe and send the request. From the other side, the transport provider sign up to send their offer, and they can update their real-time information regarding the mission. Optimal Logistics is the new generation of logistics company. We own any trucks, we own any warehouse, but we offer superior client proposition like price standardization, a bidding system, good grouping, and additional services like warehousing, transit, and shipping. Our business revenue model is a monthly subscription for transport provider, and we apply commission on every successful delivery. Our market is huge, and we are targeting Africa market with more than $180 billion. Since 2021, we reached more than 260K USD as turnover. We served more than 100 of happy clients, including government company and private company, and we successfully saved more than 1,500 million grams of CO2 just by filling the empty space on cargo. And we already have a footprint in 4 countries. So over the coming 18 months, we aim to subscribe more than 600 businesses with more than 2,000 vehicles, and to serve more than 6,000 delivery with a monthly revenue of $500K USD. For that, we are looking for an investment of $1.2 million in order to expand our traction in Tunisia market and to have expand our service in 3 new countries around Tunisia. And we have the right team to achieve our goal. Myself, I have 12 years experience as full stack developer, product manager, and we have a combination of team between operation and logistic manager. We also have some advisor in international background. So let's optimize together logistics for a better life. Thank you.
Great. Questions, please.
Thank you. You actually made a pitch in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Same question as your colleague. What about Saint-Gobain? What would you expect from a partnership or investment from them, other than what you mentioned in your slide, that would make it compelling for them to invest or work with you?
Exactly. So, in Optimal Logistics, our main value proposition is that we offer the best ratio of quality price, mainly for this tech side, for the company construction contractor. It means that we offer in one platform all the provider that can exist in around, and we provide the client with the opportunity to access to bidding system and compare price, of course, and it helps a lot to reduce their cost and the delay in every task and mission. Did you?
Do you have any presence in Egypt?
Not yet.
Okay.
This is one
that's
of
why
the,
you're raising money.
This is one of the target market now, actually, and that's why we are looking for this investment. So we validated the business model in Tunisia, and we already want to. We already have some footprint in Libya, which is really recently, and we want to go to Egypt, Morocco, and one of the European countries.
You mentioned you have a footprint in 4 countries.
Yes.
Already, can you elaborate more on that regard and the traction around your traction in these 4 countries?
Okay, so we already have some import transaction from France. Mainly our customer usually they need not only transport services, but only they need to import something from outside. That's why we have to offer to them these services through our partner, and we already imported some transaction. We did some stuff in Libya and also in Algeria through our partner.
Okay, so last question. I've seen you mention the warehousing as one of the logistic things that you provide. Since your company doesn't own tractors, but you're trying to make use of empty spaces, doesn't that add additional cost to your service? And as a second question, how do you measure the impact that you're creating from the carbon fit? You mentioned an impact about CO and carbon footprint. So how do you measure that?
Okay, so thank you for the question. So one of the also most problem in our logistic company that exists in Tunisia, that they have a lot of space in their warehouse, but half of the years they are, let's say, empty, because usually, for example, the FMG company, they use this warehouse for some period, for the summer or so it depends. So that's why for them it's a big waste. That's why it's not at all something that can increase the price, but it's for them it's a big waste, and that's why we try to give them this service. Organic the CO2 is just by filling the empty space, and that's kind of filling the empty space avoid client to use a new trucks or a new vehicle in the road, and that's also decrease the traffic congestion, also even the life and the quality of life in the road. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, jury. I wish you luck for the setup with Saint-Gobain challenge. So now it's the moment I love the most in all the AfricArena concept. I love all of it actually, but this moment is very special because every day, as a person engaged in the ecosystem, what we see every day and what I see in my show, for example, every morning, a startup pitching. So we always see startup pitching, but seeing an investor pitching, that's something very rare, and we find it, I think, probably only in AfricArena. Do you want to tell us more why you're doing this? It's just to torture them, or?
Well, I mean, we feel that it's as important for an investor to select its investment and for an investee to select its investors. So we actually advise our founder to systematically do really a thorough analysis of their prospective investors, even through a due diligence. What is a due diligence from an investee company or a startup to an investor? You're not going to ask them for their detailed financials and stuff like that. But what you need to look for is getting some reference checks from their portfolio company, check the potential synergies that will be unlocked with their existing portfolio companies, because it's quite likely that you will find partners, customers, or suppliers in this group of companies. It also could be companies that help you scale in other geographies. So I think it's quite an important element. If you are a fintech company and you are getting investment from a company, from an investor that only has investment in another sector, that's probably not going to be very creative of synergies. So these are important elements, and also, as in any partnership, I think the relationship and the quality of the relationship we're going to develop is fundamental, because it's like a marriage in a way.
It is
sometimes not as long, but you're going to be in bed together for some time, for maybe a very long time. There will be ups and downs. There will be difficulties. So it's important that you develop a strong trust relationship, and that you need to probe for that in the sort of deal process. Doing a deal with an investor is not just signing a term sheet, going through a due diligence, and then having a subscription agreement done. That's actually the easy part. What is really important in that part is to make sure that you're going to be able to really have a fruitful long-term relationship. And so, on that concept, we thought that having investor pitching to startups and explain the difference between themselves and what is the value proposition is really something important, and is not done enough. Maybe we should have half AfricArena investor pitching and half investee pitching. I also believe corporates should be doing the same. We see that, for example, in Europe, where it's much more competitive for investors to do investment in some of the top companies, it's actually the rapport de force is quite different. So in Africa, unfortunately, because of the lack of capital, many investors have been used to just receiving thousands of decks, and they can just pick and choose. I think if you go in the Valley or in Europe, it's not exactly the same story, and that's why European investors, for example, that were here this week, are developing more and more differentiating factors to be able to be competitive for the best deal. So it's going to be interesting, Wassim, that we see more and more non-African investors bringing that, and I was very pleased to hear Zach and the Launch Africa team explain their philosophy, because I think for me is the future of investment in Africa. So just to respond to your question.
Yeah, talking about Launch Africa, our first investor that's gonna pitch. You see him? He's very stressed. Really, he's stressed. I was looking at him, and also the other one. Now he smiles with a stressed smile. So we're gonna have 3 investors pitching. Natalia, can you tell us more about our startup jury? A round of applause for Christophe and Natalia also.
So I'm going to do this a little bit differently.
The startup guy, he was there at the boot camp with you guys.
Oh yeah, it was great. We were fighting hard and refining those pitches. And I mean, you guys saw the quality was quite high. It was quite optimum this week. So I would first like to call 3 startups to the front.
All 3 startups?
All 3 startups. You guys, I want you guys to do like a quick
Oh my God.
sentence.
Oh my God.
I want to see if you guys learned anything from the boot camp.
Oh my God.
You know,
Mohamed Karrar, Hussam Shafiq, you still can leave the room. Believe me. These 3 guys, okay, you remember him? He's the nicest. Believe me. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Already you're not that nice. And he's the nicest.
Yeah, okay. Hi. Hi.
Try hello.
Hi, this is Mohamed Mustafa, the CEO, co-founder of Wafarli. I'm from Egypt. Wafarli works in the logistics and retail industry, and I'm glad to be here. It's a tough decision, but we will handle this, inshallah. Okay.
Since he's established in the US, he has nice T-shirts.
Hi everyone, my name is Amin, and I'm co-founder and CEO of Epilert. I'm glad also to be here in the investment decision for investor speech. it's a tough thing. I have never been here before, so yeah, let's do it.
From sand to green. Benjamin.
Hi everyone, my name is Ben. I'm CEO and co-founder of From Sand to Green. We cultivate the desert to produce food and biofuel as well as carbon credits. And I'm really glad to do this exercise where we reverse the role. It's really interesting. Looking forward to see the investors pitch.
Bravo, Ben. Thank you. These are our jury, and we're going to start with our first pitch. So it's going to be Launch Africa, Mohammed Karar. Do you have a presentation?
This is a very humbling experience. I was just sitting there a few sessions ago. So I think we're starting. So my name is Mohammed Karar, and thank you. And I'm a venture partner at Launch Africa Ventures. I handle most of the North African deals. So this is very much my territory. And we've done 4 deals in Tunisia so far. So Launch Africa is the early stage fund that founders deserve. We're incorporated in Mauritius, but operationally we mostly operate out of South Africa, in Cape Town. Okay, so this is a very brief summary overview. I'm going to keep this light and sweet. I thought I wouldn't have to pitch after closing our fundraising earlier this year, but I'm very happy to do this. Since I'm doing it to founders, it's going to be a little bit different than for LPs. So Launch Africa is a Pan-African early stage fund. We invest in pre-seed and seed rounds, and have done just a couple Series A rounds. And we want to back founders that are using technology to solve hard problems on the continent. Our target investments, we invest our capital, our time, our intellectual resources, and our global networks into leading B2B and B2B2C startups and early stage technology companies with solutions that are scalable and asset light. Okay, our investment type, we invest up to $300,000 with an average of just around $250,000 via safe notes or convertible notes. We try to invest via notes because we want to make the investment process as fast as possible, right? We want to give the founders the money, and we want them to take it and run and start scaling right away. Our investment process is very efficient. As you guys know, we have invested in many portfolio companies. If you're not one of our founders, there's probably a portfolio founder sitting next to you. It's very quick, and we do a lot of our due diligence with local partners or with the accelerators or people that know about you, so a lot of back channeling so that we take the least effort from the founders as possible so that they can focus on their operations. And we use our diverse global networks and unique access to corporate distribution channels. This is very key, the corporate distribution channels for startups, so that we can help them a little bit outside of capital as well. So this is the Launch Africa family. As you see, our team is quite diverse. We have team members like from Mauritius, from South Africa, from Congo. I myself, I'm Sudanese. Our GPs, Zach George and Junaid Duplessis, they come from a background of venture building. So as you guys know, Zach with the long hair that has been walking all around here today. Zach was the founder of Startup Bootcamp, which is the very first accelerator on the continent way back in the day. And so he comes from a venture building background with some notable companies such as Kuda Bank in Nigeria, which at their last round last year raised 500 million valuation. So they were their very first investors and have seen companies go from very small until very late. Our team is diverse by gender, culture, and languages. So I myself, I'm a native Arabic speaker. So this really helps our founders, the ones that are not as comfortable with English. Say for example, if I'm in Egypt, ممكن نتكلم بالعربي and we can وممكن نتفاهم وكذا وبرضه حنخلص الinvestment. And we also lead with empathy. This is something that's really strong for our team, is that we are a bunch of empaths on our team, because we want to make sure that the founders feel comfortable telling us about the hard things just as well as the good things. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to partner with each other very well. So we expect that from our founders as well. Our portfolio, so we've invested in more than 115 portfolios spread over 20 countries in Africa. And our portfolio is very intentionally constructed so that it provides infrastructure for other portfolio countries. So think, for example, you're a Tunisian company and you want to expand into Egypt. We probably have a payment gateway there. We're probably going to help you with your legals, with like Al-Mitr, for example, with legal stuff. We're probably going to give you, if you're a B2B company, we're probably going to have a portfolio company there that has a lot of B2B leads and is going to be happy to share their data with you. And we'll never back two competitors in the same market. So in general, our portfolio companies are happy to share data with each other and business leads in the B2B segment. And these are some of the sectors that we have backed so far. So our fund is very founder-centric. The efficient investment process allows for founders to focus on operations while we do the due diligence. We actively pursue anti-bias processes, so we invest in very local founders, and about 90% of our founders do not come from diaspora backgrounds. I think that's it. Do you have questions for me?
Okay. Excellent presentation. I just want you told us about the part where after the investment, which is very critical to the founders. So can you tell us more what you can do after you close an investment round with a founder? What can you offer him?
Yeah, definitely. So as you see in our slide, we're not afraid to lead rounds. So usually if we're leading a round, the very first thing in order after we invest in a company is that we're going to want to close the investment round for the company. And that includes giving deals to our own LPs at no fees and no carry. So we do this for free with our LPs so that they are able to co-invest quickly on the same terms as us. Obviously, the decision at the end goes to the LPs whether they invest or not, but in 40% of the time, our LPs have co-invested in our portfolio companies. And this is a very wide range. So sometimes they will only co-invest about $50,000, but there has been a deal before where we had come on with an $850,000 check with our LPs to kind of close the round very quickly. And this is something that happens, in real time very, very fast. So in general, the first order is to help close the round, and usually we'll end up helping the company close the round.
Thank you for your presentation. You've been talking about empathy, and yesterday your CEO, Zach, told us to be human and to bring human into business. How would you do with your fund, and how do you deal with the relationship with the co-founders?
Yeah, so in general, we know that founders are, they're going to get a lot of inbound from their investors, from people in the ecosystem community, their board members, their advisor members. So if you see the last point on the slide is that, when we give an introduction to a founder, we're going to make sure that we curate it. Sometimes we found that VCs just want to make an introduction to every and anybody they meet that they consider a cool person, and it kind of just overstimulates the founder. Or sometimes maybe even waste our time. In general, we will not be burdening you with a bunch of introductions to people that are like just barely relevant to what you're doing. So we curate that very often. And the other thing is, sorry, I lost my track. Can you say the last part of the question again?
Yeah, how do you bring humanity with relationship with the co-founders?
Yeah, I mean, our co-founders are our friends. And I do travel around and I actually hang out with all of our founders. I believe there is a Tunisian founder here that owes me leblebe. So yeah, we do hang out with our founders. But in general, we bring the human connection in that I will try my best to make you feel that you can tell me anything, including the stuff, and we understand that things are not going to go smoothly.
Bravo. Anis owes you Lablabi? I was sure it was Anis. Thank you, Mohamed Karar. Launch Africa. Now it's our friend from Egypt. It's Hussam Shafiq from Silicon Badia.
Thank you, Asim. Thank you. Can you hear me? Thank you, Asim. Good day, everyone. Nice to see you all. My name is Hussam Shafiq, and I'm a senior associate at Silicon Badia, a global VC with an ever-growing passion for building and empowering ecosystems. Silicon Badia started off in 2012 with 2 parallel funds. One in the US with an investing strategy going towards the early stage, seed. Another one in the region, Jordan and Egypt, with a lead investing strategy going towards Series A and B. The idea was super simple. We wanted to connect the East and the West, in a sense that we would get the most out of the lessons learned from our investments in the US and actively share them and apply them in our region. Today, for our second $60 million US fund, we want to tap early into the Tunisian and Moroccan ecosystem, supported by our LPs' smart capital and driven by the ambitions we see in the eyes of the Tunisian and Moroccan founders. And we want to build on a track record that involves extending investments at beyond 80 tech-enabled companies across 15 different sectors with an aggregate valuation of $15 billion. We've had 5 unicorns in our portfolio and co-invested along more than 1,000 other investors globally. Our regional portfolio includes Swivel, Visita, Busta, Expensia, and a lot more, all of which we've managed to lead their Series A or B, and all of which we've partnered through their ups and downs, whether it was macro crisis, fundraising crisis, co-founder crisis, any other crisis you could name. We've been together throughout it all. And the journey has been very dynamic, but there was only one thing that we wanted to keep constant, and that is us being a founder-first investor. This is who we are, and this is who we want to continue to be. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. When it comes to due diligence, what are the first key red flags, the red flags when it comes to due diligence? And what are the green flags, like the 3 first ones, when it comes to due diligence with the startups?
So do you mean deep dives or due diligence, as in financial and legal due diligence?
When it comes to due diligence, before investing.
When it comes to financial and legal due diligence, the red flags would be anything that would be, opposing the legal end, the regulatory end. That's on the legal side. Anything that would be not disclosed early on from a financial side, if material, that would be a red flag. So the green flags would be stuff we like. That's what you mean. So we like to have strong founders that are solving real-world problems. And we like to invest in business models that have a combination of both customer retention and pricing power. And we normally started seeing that in the B2B and B2B2C segments as opposed to the B2C direct segments.
Hi, I have also a question. What is the relations with the founder after the closing the seed round?
That's a great question. So we do Series A and B rounds, and we only lead or co-lead, right? We're a $60 million fund, right? Out of the 60 million, we're only looking to do 10 to 12 investments. So we're meant to sit on 10 to 12 boards, and we have 3 partners. So each partner has only 3 companies to add value to. So we give a lot of time and knowledge and advice and mentorship to our founders beyond that.
Thank you for your presentation. You were talking about bringing good practices from the US to Africa and Middle East. Do you see any practices that shouldn't be replicated? Or on the other hand, also, do you see like really great practices that is working really well here in this market?
Yeah, brilliant question. So practice that shouldn't be replicated, and we see that in the US, and this helps us a lot with deciding on investments, is that we've seen that all the businesses and all economies go through an economic cycle, right? Ecosystems, and Egypt is a very good example. It went from a very nascent stage. Everyone wasn't accepting. There was resistance from family, friends, banks, stakeholders, investors, everywhere. I'll finish your question, can I? Until we started seeing champions like Fawri, Swivel, all of that. And we've started, and with champions coming up, we started also seeing excitements, which is a good thing, unless it leads to an excitement bubble. Everyone wants to invest. Everyone wants to work in startups. Everyone wants to start their own startups. And this is where a bubble creates, right? But with bubbles, we've got to notice from investing in the US that the music always ends. It has to end, right? So it goes down again. So we've learned the hard way not to fall into that trap.
Bravo. Shukran Hossein, welcome to Tunis. Any new investment in Tunis? Any new? I mean, like, for the last 3 days. Coming. Great job, Mohamed Kara. So Launch Africa, I think 6 startups in Tunisia, I think. 6 investments, 4. Okay, sorry for the two secrets. Yeah. Zach is not here. I guess Zach was playing piano. I was hearing piano. So we're gonna leave a few seconds for our jury to score them. So usually we don't talk to jury, but since it's a special, Satoshi is here. He's here finally. Yeah, great. I know this investor. He's one of the most engaged investors in Africa. He's based in Lagos, in Nigeria, for 7 years. Satoshi, Keppel Ventures. Sous vos applaudissements. Give him a round of applause. Not easy to be a startup, and usually they're like in the jury and saying, okay, please start. You don't need a presentation, start.
Hello everyone, I'm Satoshi. I'm based in Lagos in Nigeria. As you can see, I'm Japanese, and I'm running a VC fund called Keppel Africa Ventures. We started our fund 3 years ago, and the great thing is that we are all also founders of the VC fund. So we can put ourselves in your shoes and we can relate with you. And I'm so proud that any mistakes that we have made as an investor all belonged to us. We can't make excuse to our boss or to the colleagues because we are the only 3. And we also fundraised by ourselves. So we know how to pitch to the investors, just like you. So I think that's the most friendly and easygoing part with you. And now we are in the second journey of our VC fund. We have focused mainly on seed stage startups as our first fund. And we have deployed $80 million to 100 companies across 11 markets in Africa. And now we have a great community of our portfolio companies. And even we, as a Japanese, cannot help everything for your daily headaches in your usual operation because we are the Japanese. We try to be in the market. I have spent 7 years in Nigeria, but I'm not going to oversell my capacity and quality. But the great thing is that our 100 portfolio companies can help each other. And we have our community-based Slack channel and WhatsApp channel. So you can post whatever problems that you have, and the other founders who have already experienced it and overcame it can give you advice. So I think this is the power of the community that we have. And now we are in the version 2 by creating this joint venture with Berot Capital. Berot Capital is a PE fund based in Nigeria. And now we are going to focus on Series A and Series B. So we were asking ourselves, so what we can do? We know our limitation. And the great thing about PE fund is that they have been helping small and medium enterprises with very hands-on approach. And because they are based in Africa, they are also good at managing relationship with regulators, which we Japanese cannot really be good at. So now we are calling ourselves BC Mind with PE Body. So that's us. And yeah, this is the team. So we are not just like Japanese males. Now we have Kenyan partner who is more senior than us and who has more experience in Series A and Series B. Yeah, so this is the structure of the IC. And as you can see, it's very diversified team. And we are trying to bring all the expertise from the PE side of the Berod and Kepo. Anyway, I forget this. Yeah, and another great value addition to African portfolio companies is that we can bring Japanese strategic investors. If you compare African ecosystem versus Asia or Latin America, the significant difference is that you don't have a lot of strategic investors. Strategic investors can help you with maybe global brand, global team, strong operation, especially from Japan, and the most important thing is that they have enough capital to help you in the next round or even to acquire the companies. So we are very proud that last year alone, we brought 7 Japanese companies listed on Tokyo Stock Exchange to make their first direct investment into African startups. So we played a role of the bridging between African ecosystem and strategic investors from Japan and Asia. So I think these are the very unique selling points of our VC fund. And also, we are now onboarding different LP base, not only from Japan. We now have family office from the US, and we are now going to onboard some DFIs. So diversity of LPs is also the source of the support that we can bring to our portfolio companies. So we, as a Japanese, we started our own adventure in Africa by 3 of us, but now we are becoming like open ground to let startups mix each other and let other investors mix each other. So hope this will bring more diversity and different, more productive partnership to Africa. Thank you.
Arigatou gozaimasu, Satoshi. Great presentation. You were talking about creating a community, but how do you federate it and how do you create interaction? How does the founders help each other?
Yeah, so for example, before COVID, we had a barbecue party and invite all the portfolio companies and let them just, talk to each other. So I think we always need to have that kind of physical contact points before you start to talk over Slack or WhatsApp. That's one. And of course, we make a very open atmosphere so that everyone can post any questions at whatever time they want. And in case we feel maybe this question is more relevant to be answered by these specific startups, we do the DM and match them. Or in case like Kenyan startup wants to expand to Nigeria, then we can match them with the relevant startups in Nigeria. So that's how we add more customized support to match the startups in our community.
Great presentation. Actually, I do have one question. Since you are targeting IPOs and acquisition of the companies, is that your strategy? Am I correct regarding this? And if so, what is the exit strategy you recommend in investor?
Yeah, so in general, we are seeing more consolidation even among the African startups, and especially under these economic conditions, we are seeing more merger and acquisition through among the startups. And I think we can facilitate that because our portfolio companies are big. And secondly, for the big exit, I think IPO is still not really the great option because even after doing IPO, we are seeing a lot of misalignment between public stock market investors and the reality of the African business. Even if, like, for example, Fowry is doing great, maybe their stock price is not growing. even if Swivels can grow their business, their share price is not growing. So in order to overcome this misalignment, I think we need more acquisition by strategic investors. And what we are seeing now is that there is a lack of strategic investors. So for example, we are trying to replicate how Japanese company acquire the startups in India. And I have matched the similar startup from Africa with them, and they have invested in that company, hoping that maybe after 5 years, they're going to do the same thing, acquisition of the startups in Africa, following what they did in India. Thank you.
Was it exciting?
J'ai une voix qui porte. Can you hear me? Okay. C'est encore plus marrant comme ça, plus d'énergie. Okay. I don't need a mic. I'll try to do it like this. We're all excited. We're getting to the final, but I think I will need to use a mic so they can hear me in the live streaming, right? Otherwise, they cannot hear me. Okay. Hi to the 172 people that were watching earlier, just a few moments ago when I was looking at the live. So I hope there were investors watching investors and enjoying this session of torture. Let's give them a round of applause. Mohamed Karrar, Hossam Shafiq, Satoshi, for pitching, but also for what they're doing every day, every morning for Africa. Great job, guys and girls. We only saw 3 of them. There are many of them. I just see Miriam here. I've seen there are many of them. Abigail, like a second ago, she was here, and lots of them. So bravo. Yeah, there you go, Blanca. Plug and play. Plug and play. I heard something, my job, journalist, but I'm not gonna say I heard something, maybe investment, something, cooking, you never know. So great job, all the investors. They really have been active investor. What a great AfricArena edition. We're really happy. Everyone is happy here. We have great feedback, starting from the unconference, the boot camp, until these last seconds that we're living together. We're getting to the final. To the final. Yeah, guys, do you need anything? You want to drink something? Hein? On peut vous offrir quelque chose? Oh, now I got it. I thank the investors. Yeah, great job, jury startups. Yeah, I mean, Epilert, great Tunisian success story, but now he went to Delaware. The new African state. Yeah, where all African startups go. And great job, all of them. Benjamin, who comes from Morocco, and they're doing this crazy project with lots of technology, turning like they call it, from sand to green. Great job from Egypt, also great startups. And a round of applause for all the startups that have pitched, and they're gonna know in a few seconds who are the happy winners of the prestigious AfricArena Big Prize. The North Africa Summit. Christophe, yeah. I don't have the results. I know. I do. Mobile. Zach, thank you for playing piano while we were torturing Mohammed. It was great. It were great songs, It was in the mood. So, do you go? So, tell us, how did you feel about this edition?
Yes, I think I think it was really exciting to be here post-COVID. I'd like to call on stage my friends from Expertise France, if they are here. Yasmin, are you here? You are here.
Yasmin, I saw, yeah.
Hello, give her a round of applause. So, I'll tell you a story, and I would also like to call our friends from Smart Capital. Salma is in the room, I don't know. Yes?
Yeah, she's here.
Hello.
Hi, Yasmin.
Yes.
So, great news for whoever met us. They always see us together, and our last name is close to, so they think she's not my wife, but she's a very good friend. Yasmin Laribi, not Belarabi. Yasmin from Expertise France and Salma Bardedi from Smart Capital. They were the first support, I think, of the first seconds of thinking about doing this North Africa Summit, Christophe.
Yeah, I think the story is that we started working together almost 2.5 years ago about this concept, and I think the goal for all of us was to make Tunis and Tunisia the capital of tech, VC, entrepreneurship for Africa for at least a week, but as part of a long-term strategy to really position Tunisia as really a hub of expertise and excellence. And I think if we look back last year when we did the first North Africa Summit, AfricArena had done small tour event. We wanted to do something big, but we had the COVID that really made things difficult for us. We still decided to do it. We had very limited constraint, small budget, COVID. We still did it, and it was, it was good, and I think we could get started. And then, when we saw that COVID was going away, we decided to double down on this. And I'm really thankful, and the whole team is thankful for your commitment, your efforts, and for sharing the vision. So, I don't know if you'd like to say a few words from Expertise France and Smart Capital. Maybe you first, Alma.
And also, we don't forget our friends from the GIZ. They're not here with us. They have been the trio of the beginning of the start of this cool adventure. Yeah. Salma.
So yes, it was an amazing journey, and I love the way that you said it was about the vision that we shared, and more about putting Tunisia as a hub is, for me, is more building the bridges and connections, and to have, while a week, that openness and that very free and free discussions, free sharing experience, learning from each other. And it's so good, it felt so good actually, after COVID and after all what happened everywhere in the world, to meet all these brilliant minds as investors, but also as startups, and I was very happy to see all the dynamics in other countries in North Africa, not only in Tunisia. I think we have to think about no more one hub or one place to act, but very different places, very different spots where things are happening, but from time to time it's good to connect, and it's good to have a good drink or a fresh meal all together, and to discuss about innovation and technology. So thank you, Christophe. Thank you to all the team. They are amazing, because what you haven't said, that it was planned and managed in very few time. Thank you to Wasim, who is he opens the door, the doors with us. Yeah. And congratulations to all the winners, and congratulations to all the future deals that would hopefully come through and after this event.
Bravo, Salma.
First of all, thank you, Christophe, and all the AfricArena team. Dan, Nathaniel, Ropa, Kim, thank you very much. You've done a great job. And of course, congratulations to the competing teams and to the winning startups. Looking forward to know the winners. So it has been quite an intense week between the Founders Bootcamp, the Unconference, and now the Summit. And if I had to sum it up, I would definitely say like 2 words: collaboration and new perspectives. And just like Selma said, we've been talking throughout the week about building bridges. And I think we've really managed to build the foundations towards a platform of collaboration. And I'm really looking forward to the next AfricArena North Africa Summit in Tunis, I hope. Thank you again.
Thank you, Yasmin. And do you want another North Africa Summit? Shall it be in Tunis? Yes.
Shall it be in Tunis, Houssam?
So
Egyptian TV is watching.
Yeah, I cannot agree more with what both Salma and Yasmin said. It's about collaboration, building bridges, and stimulating each other. I think we are stronger together. And I think the fact of gathering all these amazing minds, and we really had a stellar lineup of speakers and panelists and founders. And I'd like to, in particular, thank those that, by the way, are still here today, even if they're playing the piano in the background, right? So Zach, thanks for your support, for you and your team being here. And I think you really have been a long time contributor and user of AfricArena, and I think it's really great to have you here. I'm really happy, Mariam, that you and 500 Global, you I know it's difficult, you travel a lot, that you made the extra effort to again come and support this amazing ecosystem. I'd like to thank also all the other contributors that travel from far away. We had a fantastic keynote from Ola Brown, Dr. Ola Brown, who came from Nigeria. We have amazing investors like Satoshi from Keppel. We had over 40 investors at the VC Unconference. Many of them were from outside of the region, but also outside of the continent. And I think if I compare to last year, it was really the huge difference that we were able to attract a lot of international talent here. And this is just the beginning. We hope that we will keep on doing better and that our local supporter, and that includes the local investors and ecosystem players. So I'd like to thank the DOT, Startup Village, the investors, the Mavericks like Newman, who was there all the way from the unconference to the evening parties and stuff, for your support. And I also would like to thank the founders for making the trip, and in very difficult condition. We still have to reform this visa system and find more airlines to fly in the region and across Africa. So it's definitely an action item for us to lobby. We had the pleasure of having the visit of the Minister of Economy of Tunisia last night, so I had a good chat with him. And Zach was also talking to him about Startup Act 2.0. So we are gathering together on making some tangible change. AfricArena is not an event. We're about accelerating the entire ecosystem. So it's about being action bound. We definitely will be leaving this week with lots of actions. And Wassim, my partner in crime, as you say, without you, this would not have been possible at that scale. So I'd really like to thank you. I think he deserves a very special round of applause. The team was mentioned, so I'd like... You even got the embassy of Tunisia in Cairo to open on a Friday, so you guys could fetch your visa. So, yeah.
I'm not sure we're allowed to say that. They did their job. They did their job.
Let's. The team was mentioned, so quickly I'd like to call Dan, Ropa, Nathaniel, Kim on stage, just so you can see if we haven't met them. They are the one working hard. I'm just the old guy
and I'm
with the energy
Marwa
to make it happen. So Ropa, who's been amazing in getting to get all these investors to come at the unconference, working with me. Nathaniel, who's working very hard to get the startups, the speakers, everything working spotless on the program and so forth. Dan, who's been project managing and doing the logistics, and Kim, who's been really the lovely smile and face, making sure everyone is happy and has a water and has a lunch, and we're doing our best with the resources we had at hand. So thank you very much, team members. We also have a team in Cape Town that is over there, that is making sure that the stream is happening. We had a lot of online streaming activity. There was never any point in time when we didn't have more people in the cloud than in this room. So we will see the stats, but I'm sure we'll have hit over 1,500 to 2,000 online audience. So this is really great because many of the investors are actually following either live or on replay what's happening here. They look at the keynotes, the panels, and some of the investor pitch, some of the startup pitch. On that note, all the startup pitch are available online on our platform post-event, so you'll be able to use that to share it, show you were on stage. And that's usually a good asset to share, not just a slide deck, but also a video of you pitching.
Great platform.
When you come.
Really great platform. Everyone who used it is saying that. Thanking the team. We don't forget Marwa Ben Hassin also.
Of course.
Yesterday, if you enjoyed the innovation night, Marwa was there. If for for the VC, for the unconference, who enjoyed the treasure hunt in the Medina of Hammamet? Who survived
where's
the
that
treasure
video?
hunt?
Thought we're
So
gonna
it
have a
was
video.
Marwa and many other things. Great job, Marwa Bahsin. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now, and the winner is. So we're gonna start with a few information about what they are winning. Now, please stay with us. Ropa, remember you? Yeah. All the startups are winning.
Really?
What does it mean? I mean that because you are all getting $10,000 in AWS credits and additional business services to help you build and scale your product and your services using the AWS technology. We've granted over $2.5 million of AWS credits since inception at AfricArena. It has been truly helpful for many founders to save cost, accelerate, and really build solid technology products that they can go all the way to Series B and C. And we have a lot of business case of that story, from aerobotics to other stuff. So really have a look at it. Our team will be in touch with you so that you understand how to use it if you're not an AWS user already. But that's a big benefit of what you're getting by participating in AfricArena, other than getting the support in terms of flights and accommodation. Now we're going to go and announce a series of qualifying companies and winners. So the companies that I will announce now are part of the two Open Innovation program that you saw during this last 2 days. The first one is the Saint-Gobain Innovation Challenge.
And the winner is?
And the winner is?
Tauridet
from Egypt.
Oman.
So, all the companies that I mentioned now, they win flight accommodation to come to Cape Town, South Africa in November. So please come on stage. So I think we'll be very pleased to have you meet with the Saint-Gobain folks. You'll be competing against a company from South Africa and a company from Kenya. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a pitch battle in Cape Town on the 8th of November, probably. Anything you want to say?
Thank you so much for the support, and I'm looking forward to meeting you all in Cape Town, inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amar. Now, on the FMO program, we're happy to announce that we have two companies that will make the trip to Cape Town, and those are
Cento Green and Green Owl.
Come on, guys. So these are exciting businesses. One is from Morocco, one is from Algeria. So it's going to be fantastic.
Who comes first gets an extra $1,000.
Come together. So I mean, I think you're going to be on the radar for many VCs in the room and elsewhere, because the reason FMO is doing this is as part of their deep flow development, and definitely looking to see how they can invest in you in the long term. So a few comments and words on your experience for this last 2 days, from the boot camp to the summit. Who wants to start?
Thank you so much for this great opportunity. Thank you to all the team, Dan, Nathaniel, to everyone who's been working very hard. Thanks for gathering us again from Algeria, and I say that it's incredible that we need this kind of events just to meet with Tunisian, with Moroccan, with guys from Egypt, from everywhere. Meeting is really is the thing that I thank you for gathering us and for meeting us, to let us chat with each other, even though that we are neighbors and we don't talk to each other. So thank you just for that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think you say something very special, and Satoshi said it before. It's really important to meet before starting to work together and create link before starting to do business together. So thank you so much for this kind of events. This is really amazing, and thank you everyone to be here today. And thank you for selecting us to go to South Africa. Looking forward.
Yeah, a pleasure, guys. We'll see you in Cape Town in a couple of months. So now we're going to move to the formal awards. So we are starting with an award that I like
particularly, it's the most innovative business award. That's meant to single out a company that is exceptional in terms of its potential, the tech or the market it's positioned on. And the jury have selected a very interesting company.
And I think they deserve it. Not that the others do not, but they really deserve it. They're from Tunisia, Cumulus.
Well done. Are they here?
And
okay, Cumulus. Someone has to take the award for Cumulus. You are from Cumulus?
Yeah, I got
a lady, even better.
You get the award. You go to Cape Town. Ihab, don't go.
Exactly.
So, hello everyone. I'm not from Cumulus. I'm from Flat 6 Labs, the main investor of Cumulus. I guess I'm gonna add it to my job description, which is getting the awards for the team. And I apologize on behalf of the team because of health issues. Thank you, everyone.
If we can have a picture with. Yeah. Thank you.
If you're having that much of awards, that means you're investing right. Flat 6 Lab. And that means someone is investing right here in Flat 6 Lab. Ibrahim?
Well done. Now the next company is on the award of the best seed startup. And so we have categories in terms of award. You had seed track, Series A track, and growth track. So we're going to go with the first seed track, and the winner is from
Egypt, Pharmacy Marts. Pharmacy Marts from Egypt.
So that's the best seed startup on the seed track. Well done, guys.
Good job.
Thank you a lot for this opportunity. We actually have a lot of, let's say, events at Egypt, but this event is totally different how it's organized, as well as, let's say, the syndicate of people, startups, as well as investors. It's totally different and unique, and it's very well organized. So thank you for this, and we are honored to have this award actually. So it's a great moment for us actually, and thank you. Thank you.
Next is gonna be best Series A.
Thank you, guys. Yes, best Series A. So companies, bit more maturity, bit bigger, and the winner is.
Your turn.
The winner is Wafer from Egypt.
Egypt, Wafer. He's not believing it. Yes, Series A.
No, from Morocco. Yeah, sorry. I thought. No. Let's not make a diplomatical incident again.
Yeah, the one thing that I want to say, thank you very much. It had been a great pleasure for me to be here in Tunisia and meeting wonderful people in Tunisia, and looking forward to come back in Morocco and stay working.
And come back to Tunis too. You need the word? Otherwise, we'll give it to Flat 6 Lab, no problem.
Okay, and now the most mature segment, so our growth track startup pitch section was won by a very special startup. I wasn't expecting that. Again from Tunisia, and it's
Galactech.
Galactech gaming startup. An amazing startup. I think we're gonna have to call Flat.
I think they weren't expecting that.
And then on the first floor.
Okay, so do we give away the award?
But he was here earlier. I saw him like just before starting the.
Oh, he's on the call? Seriously? Okay. Well, okay. We will wait. We will wait. Okay, so let's move to the next award, and then we see if the call ends before the show ends. So that was for our Seed Series A growth. We have another special award, which is to single out the most promising, high potential entrepreneur from all the startups that pitched that the jury felt that needs to get an opportunity to come to Cape Town and to continue this journey. And this is actually a company from Sudan, and the company is
Mango Gate.
Mango Gate. I hope she's not on a call. Oh, there we go.
No, she's there.
Congratulations. I know it was hard to come from Sudan logistically and visa-wise, so tell us about this journey.
I actually had the visa at the last 5 hours, yes. So thank you so much for this opportunity. The exposure was really different from any other events, and opportunities are everywhere. So thank you so much for the team, Nathaniel, Dan, all of the team.
It's funny, I don't know, Salma and Christophe and Yasmin, if you remember the story, you can look at the pictures where I tell the story when we were trying to get those visas, last minute visas, and the last ones were the Sudanese, and we said this, we said we need to bring everyone because everyone needs to have a chance to win, and it could be Sudanese startup. And I don't know if you remember this story, and it is actually, so we're very happy to have her and have all of you here.